Welcome to part 8 in this series as we experience the rides in America, mostly on the scenic byways and roads less traveled. It's a little sad leaving Bisbee. We just loved it here and can't wait to come back. But that really is the best part of traveling, to see new places and fall in love. But since we are now at the end of September with a long ride back to Canada and still so many places we want to see, we are on the road early and headed for Phoenix, and the plan for now is to ride the south, east, and north rim of the Grand Canyon, and we will see what side trips we can make along the way. Heading through Tombstone, don't forget to check out the ghost stories and history around the Boot Hill Graveyard. It's one place that we didn't cover ourselves, but the reading that I've done describes some absolutely fascinating history, and I will save that for another trip, because we certainly will be back to this part of the country. It's truly something special. As for today, we will go as far as we can on the two-lane highways, and then it will be our first real interstate day of travel to get from point A to point B as needed with the extreme heat wave in the area, and no real way around it other than an early start to beat the heat as best we can. Jonathan's bike registered 50 degrees Celsius at one point, and mine at 49, the last I looked, and that was on the interstate at 80 miles an hour. This has turned into the hardest 350 kilometers I've ever done, and it feels like we've traveled over 1,000 miles today. We stopped several times to soak our heads in gear, and the last half hour of the ride we actually resorted to bags of ice on our chest, but worst of all, we noticed chunks of rubber coming off Jonathan's tires. A shower, air conditioning, and a glorious swim, and I became a resident of the pool. I had a chance to relax, do my nails, and I didn't even need a gel nail light. The sun is so intense and strong that the nails cure in seconds. It's astounding, and one more reason to be careful in this heat. Take a look on the left-hand side and you'll see two horses waiting for the big train robbery reenactment in this Old West historic town. I really love trains and horses, which you will find both here in Williams, known as the gateway of the Grand Canyon. Now we are about to find a stop and a nice place for breakfast after leaving Phoenix at daybreak this morning. We had a delightful visit with family and a shopping trip for cooling vests. And thank you, Bill, for following us along on Facebook and making this suggestion. It's absolutely spot on.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you really?
Yes. The Guinness Book of World Records says I'm good at it.
Really?
Are you kidding me? And what is your name, sir?
Buck Williams.
Buck Williams. Oh, okay. I am Lisa
I
and
am
Jonathan
seventh
Lancaster.
in the world with this, and fifth in the world at Cowboy Fast Draw.
Pretty
In the
awesome.
Guinness Book.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you don't run into you on an open street when there's a gunfight.
Well, they have them at night here.
Oh, do they?
Yeah.
Is that the cowboys on the horses by the rail there?
The train before it leaves to
Yeah.
go up. They do a little cowboy show before it leaves.
That's why the horses.
That's me.
Okay.
On the way back, they chase it down on horseback, get on and rob the train.
Very
in the summer,
cool.
from Memorial Day to Labor Day,
Yeah.
every night at 7 o'clock, shut the street down out here someplace, do a little cowboy show and have a gunfight.
That is tremendous.
I did that for 15 years.
Good on you. I'm a horse person as well, so I have total
Really?
respect for that.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I was raised on a ranch in Alabama, been around horses all my life.
Absolutely
When
fabulous.
I get done with a horse, you can throw your bit and bridle away. They work off voice command.
That's fabulous. Yeah, that makes
I
all
tell
the difference.
everybody, you want to know about horses? Get yourself a child psychology book, and every place that says 5-year-old kid, cross that out and write horse.
Bingo, you got it.
Yes,
Yeah.
well, I'm also one of the original founders of the Los Angeles Police Department's mounted unit.
What an incredible life.
I've had a lot of fun, sweetie.
I bet. What a blessing pulling into this parking spot because we were going to go for something to eat and then we turned the corner and I'm like, just park in the shady spot in front of that store.
There you go.
That was wonderful. I can't thank you for your time and thank you for the wonderful advice for going into the Grand Canyon.
I was born in Ohio. I grew up on a ranch in Alabama.
Okay.
Then the Marine Corps. Then I went back to Ohio. I did 3 years as a deputy sheriff there. Then I went out, my wife and I both did 20 with LAPD. And I did 6 with the U.S. Marshal.
And what brought you to this town?
We had passed through here a bunch of times. Our last name's Williams.
Okay.
My wife said that's where she wanted to go, and I'm not arguing.
I love you. I love it.
Well, I tell everybody, we're going on 44 years.
Tremendous.
Because I learned the secret early. In a marriage, there are 2 people. One is always right, and the other one's the husband.
Got it?
It works.
This is Buck's place here in the Canyon Vista Mall.
That's Buck.
Have a good one.
All right, we'll see you in a bit.
Too.
Thank you so much.
So we are on Route 66, and this little town is called Williams. Great for Western history, established in the late 1800s, and we've got a suggestion to walk down this little alleyway and head to Anna's Canyon Cafe. Williams is on the historic Route 66 and is the southern terminus of the Grand Canyon Railway, which takes visitors into Grand Canyon Village. Home to the Native Americans for thousands of years and followed by the Spanish explorers in the mid-1500s, to the fur traders such as Old Bill Williams, the town's namesake, who was a trapper, a scout on the Santa Fe Trail. Prospectors in search of gold staked claims, attracting settlers, and was founded in 1876, which soon became a shipping center for nearby ranching and lumber, and Williams gained a strong reputation in the Old West for rough and rowdy. Filled with saloons, gambling houses, bordellas, and opium dens, it was furthered and developed stagecoach tourism of the Grand Canyon. The south entrance of the Grand Canyon is Mather Point, with an elevation of 7,100 feet, and this is the most visited viewpoint, being a short walk from the visitor center. We just got to the Grand Canyon Visitor Center, and we have parked the bikes, looking for spots over there by the washroom and water to soak our vests a little bit later. Those cooling vests work really good. And we're going to take a little 5-minute walk to Mather Point viewpoint. So here we go. Geology is a prominent feature at any viewpoint, but especially from here, where all the 3 main rock groups of the Grand Canyon are clearly visible. The tilted strata visible deep within the Grand Canyon at this viewpoint are part of a series of rock layers known as the Grand Canyon Supergroup. From here, you can look across at the canyon to see the layers in the walls of the North Rim, which we are even more excited to visit, knowing that we will be able to look back across for a complete experience from all sides. We went down the road a little further and pulled over at Duck on a Rock viewpoint to park the bikes in the shade for a couple moments before carrying on. I can only imagine this view at sunset, but for today, I think it will be view hopping along the route, and I'm sure the sunset will be spectacular from almost anywhere on this side of the canyon. As we are about to leave the pavement, Jonathan wants to find the Fire Lookout Tower, which is the Grandview Lookout Tower and cabin that is now also the trailhead for the Arizona Trail. This 80-foot high tower was originally built in the 1930s. It's a small observation cabin on top that measures 7 foot square. In the 30s, it was an active period for lookout tower construction, and most of these tall steel towers are built so well that they are still in use today. It's an easy 10 miles off the main road with plenty of areas to camp amongst the trees and plenty of hiking trails in this part of the Kaibab National Forest. This is Morin Point, looking over the Grand Canyon. It's approximately 21 miles across in the wider places. I actually had no idea of the enormity of how wide, deep, and how far it really goes. It's absolutely spectacular. Stopping at the desert viewpoint was busy, but really worth it. Here you'll find the memorial to the aviation incident that happened on June 30th, 1956, when a TWA and United Airlines flight collided in uncongested airspace. This unfortunate tragedy spurred an unprecedented effort to modernize and increase safety in America's post-war airways, and the establishment of today's FAA was born. I went for a walk and took in the quiet beauty of this place. You don't have to go far to avoid the crowds, which is really fantastic for us, but I should have been paying a little more attention because I managed to find some poison oak walking around that I must have brushed against on my bike pants, which would prove to be a little nasty later in the day. Something about my boots not quite high enough with the vented pants did not make me invincible. It's a short quarter-mile walk to the watchtower, constructed in 1932. Architect Mary Coulter's design is influenced by the ancestral Puebloan people of the Colorado Plateau. This tower was patterned after those found at Hovenweep, and if you remember and watched in our previous videos of this series, we visited Hovenweep near the Four Corners Monument, and if you've missed that video, I think it could be well worth watching and you'll be able to see the similarities. In the stairs, there are many stories embedded in the paintings and artwork, which decorate the walls, and the outside view offers a glimpse of the Colorado River's transition from the relatively narrow Marble Canyon to the north into the much wider, broader expanse of the Grand Canyon. To the east, several thousand feet below, is the broad expanse of the plateau known as Marble Platform, which is part of the Navajo Nation. The brilliant colors of the painted desert can be glimpsed in the distance. The Desert View area itself has been used as a gathering place for thousands of years, and currently it represents the physical and cultural gateway from the Grand Canyon National Park to tribal communities. As I'm taking in this landscape around me, I can't help think about how long people have been in this place. Before the pyramids in Egypt or the Colosseum in Rome was built, Native Americans were here in the Grand Canyon and have been for more than 10,000 years. Navajo lived here with the Puebloan people before known written history, surrounded by these sacred mountains. One thing is for sure, their lives and fate was forever changed by the coming of the Spaniards, who themselves were spurred on to America by rumors of the 7 cities made of gold. The gold found in Mexico and Peru certainly strengthened this story, and in the mid-1500s the Spaniards began to colonize. During this time, the Navajo Nation transitioned from hunter-gatherers to farmers, and then began to herd sheep and weave the now famous blankets from their wool. They adopted silver craftsmanship from the Spanish to make gorgeous turquoise and silver jewelry that is now an integral part of the Southwest. The Puebloans, being a sedentary people, were quickly enslaved and made to produce for the crown. The Navajo were not so easily subdued and began a war that would last for centuries. Tonight, we are staying at the Cameron Trading Post. It has existed for more than a century, and people who work there have done for generations. Originally, the trading post was visited only by the Navajo and Hopi locals to barter their wool, blankets, and livestock for dry goods. It was a trip that could take days by wagon. Today, you'll find it full of art and history. Good morning from Cameron. It is a little trading post from 1916 with an incredible history and through the Navajo. That top balcony on the right hand side was our home last night, looking out onto the bridge towards the 89 where we're going to head off towards the North Rim this morning. And we had this lovely view and sunrise and sunset of this beautiful little gorge with a little bit of water running down there. Definitely was watching for animals last night but didn't see any. Anyway, if you happen to come by, this is an absolute treat. They seriously have a restaurant that fits about 200 people, and it is filled full of absolutely the most beautiful native crafts that you would find, and Navajo rugs and some really special pieces. There's Jonathan, he's all ready to get saddled up, looking like his little stormtrooper self in his sand, which is a great color for this expedition. Ha. The black, even Lisa has given up. Anyway, are you having fun?
I'm having fun, but you are crazy.
Anyway, we are off, and come along for a little more of the tour. Heading for the North Rim to look back across at the canyon from where we just came from. The landscape is again almost surreal and changes so much through this incredible ride. Our original plan was to go up to Page, as we're only about a mile from the turn, but instead today we've decided to spend our time enjoying the more peaceful North Rim. The roads in front of us are quieter already, and the landscape opens up on top of the plateau to something that looks like an artist's palette of spectacular colors. And so far, very few cars. With only about 10% of the Grand Canyon's visitors coming to this more remote and less developed viewpoint that is high in elevation ranging between 8,000 and 9,000 feet, the area is home to abundant wildlife including herds of elk, buffalo, hiking trails, and mule rides for those wanting to go further into the canyon. Join us back next week for part 9 in this stunning landscape, a night glamping, and then on to Zion and into Area 51 as we are buzzed by a fighter jet as we continue our ride towards home. As always, thank you for watching, and please don't forget, live your adventure, and we will see you on the road.